Hello everyone, I'm Steve, and today we continue reading World & Economica, episode 2. So, we stop when we learn more about Avalon, or what exactly wrong with them, and so far it seems like main thing we can find, or they can find about them, is just try to figure out how much energy they have selling, or something like this. Or actually maybe even produce, and for this they wanted to count uh, how much solar panels on the moon or something like this. Well, and I guess our conversation between Caro and Eleanor, it was last thing what we read in previous stream. And because of that, yeah, and in this conversation they just decide what they gonna learn more. Eleanor gonna try use her own methods, and Haru probably gonna use his connections with his government job. And yeah, so I believe we're gonna continue, from the next morning. Sorry, I was closing my window. Anyway, so let's actually just start reading, I guess. The next morning, the lunar capital has become a nice kingdom. At least, that's how it felt to me. That was the first time I realized that cold could be painful. If I told Lisa that, she'd be shocked, then laughed. I doubted her and thought, damn, you're born, when she told me to wear gloves if I went out. But once I'd put them on, they were actually quite warm. Gloves are considered working class gear on the moon, but on Earth, they seem to also be used to stay warm. That being the case, I walked through the outer district. The town lights burned, and the frost scattered here and there to glisten, as I made my way to the streetcar station. He tried to go to his old job. I believe he was trying to contact Rena. Maybe he actually just already contacted her and they agreed to meet somewhere. It's only been a brief period since I stopped commuting to the government office, but I felt like it was years ago. This is probably what it was like then. Your point of view changed. Oh, sorry. As I was looking towards where the streetcar was spurning out people, a voice called to me from behind. When I turned around, Rena was standing there with coffee and what appeared to be a veggie sandwich in her hands. Okay, so they indeed meeting. I thought I still had a bit of time. No, it's still early. It's fine. Is that your breakfast? Well, I felt a bit relieved. That Rena was the same as always. I did feel that she appeared somewhat ostentatious. But looking closely, it's not like anything had changed since I had left. And I could tell her clothes were the same, since there was stains left on them from spilled food. And then once I was looking at the clothes of the people walking around in Rena's direction. Lena wore green clothes, which looked rather warm from how cold it was. Yes, lately I really like the veggie sandwiches from the coffee stand over there. Oh, you said you don't eat breakfast, right? Normally I wouldn't, but things haven't been normal recently. Under Lisa's roof, I couldn't get away with whose poor eating habits. Oh, so you must have found a good workplace. Nothing but happiness in that world. Rena's innocent, dream-changing smile made me almost accept that the world could be like this. Imagine that the guy who stuck the ring on Rena's ring finger, started spending every day with her, would be a bliss, without a doubt. Well, no complaints. That's great. So, we can't do this as we walk. Also, while eating is fine. When I said that, as the store glances down at her sandwich, my older than me former boss giggled with a tee-hee-hee, as she unwrapped and, without a second thought, lovely bit into it. So, you said you had a favor to ask or something. Then asked, as she wiped away the Maya on her mouth with her ring finger. When I pointed her there was some of on her right as well, she hastily wiped it off. Yeah, I felt it would be better to say it in person than through mail. Well, that could this be? Something I could actually help you with? She tilted her head mischievously, but for her, this wasn't mean so much as a joke. She was a honest woman, incredibly honest and sincere. But if you were to ask me to rate her capacity for her work, I need to hold back a little. I believe you told me your position prior to this one was checking various application documents. Hmm. Rena looked at me, still being into her veggie sandwich, and flippantly bit it off with a crunching sound. Then, after chewing childishly, she closed her eyes and swallowed. Hal, I have a bad feeling about this discussion. I'd like to take a look into the government office database. Rena looked at me and took a sip of coffee. It looked like a morning since a while. It said the dome, but the temperature hadn't gone up much at all. Then moved her lips away from her coffee cup and let go aside. An almost magical wisp of white breath rolled out. Is that for your job? Your eyes now looked like who's looking at an outsider. I thought that surprisingly, she might be quite dependable when out and about. In the sense that it follows suit with my employer's intention. Yes. Do you think you can use that kind of phrasing to fool me? No, you're no longer one of my subordinates. Nor are you a government employee. She said so flatly. A highly moral government employee. I was a bit relieved that she was like this. I guess you really did end up with work that isn't that good. Rena stopped as she looked at me and spoke. Getting money all of a sudden, then giving up your scholarship. Well, it certainly isn't something particularly grand. Much like all the jobs on Schrodinger Street really. At what worse, Rena gave an awkward smile. Oh, so Hal actually is really good with stocks. Not really good. I do seem to be a bit better than the average stout. I said it in a way that would displease Rena, and she did indeed put on a displeased expression. No, I have no intention in playing a part in money-making schemes. That's corruption. I was wrong about you. Rena began walking off after saying that. I wouldn't be able to catch up with her with my legs. That's why I yelled out instead. For justice! What? Rena looked back, her brow furrowed. This would be for the realization of justice. My face was always expressionless. It made me appear sullen and occasionally upset. In this case, however, probably made me look more serious. He said there's too much malice on the moon. What are you talking about? My employer is the type of person who says those things. That was in the car from Grand Hotel as we were heading to the restaurant. Eleanor was the same as her. They couldn't accept wrongs as they were, alright. They belonged to the type of people for which life was hard. I was doing it it in the corner of branch office, out in our rundown district, and it was fine for her. But that wasn't the case for Eleanor. As I managed to read the emotions from my deadpan expression, she gave a small gulp. This isn't about making money. I want it to be transparent. The paying of certain factors will be possible to make some profits. I'll ask for consideration. What is it that you want to know? Liz should hear me out. She allowed for such change in her position. I'd like to know how the land outside of cities is being used. The answer seemed to have betrayed Rena's expectations. Huh? Shocked Raur let down. But that... You can't get this information without asking me. That I know, but I can't do that. Can't you say? And look around, a bit troubled. The mouth back up to me and pulled me to the side of the street by the sleeve. What do you have in mind? I don't believe you're the type of person to break the rules to make money. I met with great misfortune from Barton's selling information 4 years ago. That critique struck pretty harshly. But it was true that after that incident, I became paranoid in regards to illegal action. To illegal acts. I like a full map of how the land of the lunar surface is being used. A full map? Yes, my employer has already looked it up at branch office, but they'd only be able to inquire for land by each sector. But no. What we want is know how much land the Sterling company on the moon is using. There's no way to do that other than obtaining the data directly from the database and analyzing it. You say no. I'm not lying when I say it for the sake of justice. This was the only real way I could think of. Rhiannon turned her face off to the side. I bit when I spoke with words. If someone was watching us, it probably looks like some man making advances of a faint-hearted woman on her way to work. But when Rhiannon looked at me, her eyes were much kinder than I expected. Do you know the lunar landing regulations? Yes. Rhiannon started to me, then suddenly looked above her. At that moment, I thought that the person before me was a much more clever individual than I had imagined. Seems like I'd read something like this in a novel before. She turned her gaze away from the dome and looked back at me. I have my sources, which in this case means me, right? After Ryan said that with a terribly serious expression, her lips curled up into a grin, as if she was holding back a giggle. Please, this is for justice, but for now I cannot speak in detail. I acted like I was in some sort of movie or TV drama. When I felt a little embarrassed because I said something like that out loud. It's true, right? Well, we don't know where our plan could leak from otherwise. Got it. But we're even with this. The subsidiary application. I felt dumbfounded with that and truly became expressionless. Honestly, waiting until the last moment to take out that hostage. It sounds like I'm the bad one here. Well, yeah. I didn't have even the faintest intention of doing something awful like using that as a hostage. But that was... Yes, that is much justice. You agreed, but also let me get away with it. The lunar surface is filled with malice. So much so that even if you were to walk straight with good intentions, you would still run into it. Please, do your best. And said that and began walking off. I think I can send email around lunch. Would that be alright? It's actually really fast. It's actually moving kind of fast. Interesting. Maybe we already close to the end? I mean, kinda hard to say. But it seems like they are really soon gonna be able to learn about what's going on. I actually, 1 second. Oh, I just want to check how much streams we already. I literally can check stream title. So in part 13, but actually, how much part we have in the first episode? I mean, it's maybe the case what they have same length. It's actually pretty big chance they hadn't. Okay, for the first episode we have 90 streams. Well, but again, it's kinda a little hard to judge because our streams can be a little bit different in their length also. Interesting. Well, actually, I'm thinking, and I feel like streams for this episode actually mostly was shorter. Okay. So I think we have at least some stream left. Like 6, 7 probably. Maybe more, who knows. Anyway. Yes, that'd be great. Vance realized, please tell me that kind of justice this was. Anne spoke from far off, waving her hand high into the air without even bothering about the looks of people around her. I waved back like an idiot. A plain and simple woman. I seen my eye for brand selection only worked on stocks. Huh. It was around 10 a.m. Then I arrived at the church. The cold still lingered in the air, but it had gotten much warmer. It was a bit late, because I went to a cafe and lost myself in thought, watching as people headed off to work, hunched over against the cold, or then the temperature dropping 10 degrees, except a change in clothing, and a bit of unrest. Everything went on as usual. After 9 a.m., the exchange would open, and one would expect that the confusion from last night would take off like a rocket. Yet the world went on as usual. It was slightly mysterious, but interesting. But for the Chris, fully submerged in the market, that certainly wasn't the case. I figured I'd probably have to date completely booked with Chris, so I wanted to give myself a little alone time to think about Avalon. In the end, though, I only ended up with my head packed about what happened yesterday. My train of thought got off tracks with that, and the fact that Chris would get angry if I was really late. I returned to the church with an old man, but Chris was already gone. Where's Chris? Goodness, you finally made your wake back. You finally made your wake back. She already left quite a while ago. Scratched my cheek lightly as I stood within the church. It feels somewhat more refreshing than usual in there, likely because of the cold. She waited around restlessly, up until about 8:30 actually. She had trades or something, and headed off to Newton City. I see. And that I remembered that even in the program was running at full automation, Chris wasn't able to do the trades herself unless she was at the office. She couldn't take the risk of letting that program do automatic transactions in that sporadic market, so she was probably doing them manually. Even if that wasn't the case, it was someone else's money Chris was fiddling with. She had a responsibility. She seemed rather worried, actually. Lisa, who had been wiping up, placed her hand on her hip and looked at me disdainfully. She posted unexpected losses, but it wasn't enough to blow her away, and for me, the first time I posted big losses, I felt like my guts were being torn out. But it's something one must get over, or else they should quit investing. Of course, losses that double you down are different. and a flexible stick will break if you bend it enough. You need to support it when that happens. I understand the reasoning, but taking losses, being with them, does he continue to take losses? How long would one continue until he can bear? That depends on the amount at stakes. In the worst case scenario for Chris, she'll be a million in the red and get fired. Then it happens to me, there was no button to hit. That was what Lisa was worried about. That was why she was being so protective, to the point that Chris has called her stubborn. Well, I'll trust what you say. I remember very well that one of the reasons I work at Eleanor is to protect Chris. Can tell from your face. It was quite a nice it was quite a nice joke. I shrugged, starting to head back to my room. It halted me on my way. But, it's a strange occupation. You mean stocks? Yes. The reason why Chris was so restless yesterday was also because the dome temperature was lower than 10 degrees, wasn't it? Well, that's about right. It's mysterious. Really? Very. The temperature dropping 10 degrees, and a company worth dropping 10 degrees too. It was something which only complete amateur would say, but it seemed to hit upon something deep at its core. Well, stocks are vouchers for a corporation's profits. So, if you expect the profits to decrease, then it's the same. That decrease in corporate profits. Is there really a connection between that and the dome temperature lowering 10 degrees? I was going to retort that Emerald Indices lowering the temperature was, in itself, a set of the projected spike in energy costs, and the price increasing was a side of the corporate operations cost going up, but I gasped in the revelation. That was the exact explanation to a spike in the energy market. The same explanation I ridiculed yesterday. I likely poked myself in the head, admonishing myself that I now couldn't laugh at Chris about this. No, you're absolutely right. There's no logical explanation at all. It's all assumptions. This will surely happen in the near future. There's no question about it. This is a place where people go guessing what our people think, outwitting them, or even where people go to outwit their peoples to make earnings. Meaning, it ultimately doesn't matter that one company or another does mostly. Lisa folded her arms. The look on her face said, and sometimes during this assumption competition, reality throws out a punch. Punch? Yes. Like, hey guys, reality isn't that simple. Open your eyes. Then, after everyone panics from the heat, they think about what the world will be like after taking it. Does that mean it somehow becomes a solution to the problem? Not at all. But sometimes, unless someone comes to wake one up, they may not sleep, wouldn't he? Then, is there even a need to stocks at all, I wonder? Lisa folded her arms and cocked her head to the side, but I had no answer for such a deep inquiry either. Originally, it may have a much different purpose, but it may be something different altogether now. Then what reason is there to have them now? That's... I shrugged as I answered. Perhaps a ticket to a dream. Nightmares included? Yeah, but this is only for a dream. When you come back to the real world, what is if you have people to pull you back to the real world, it won't kill you. It started into my face. I let out a big sigh. I'm so happy you're growing up. The tuition was high, though. I pray Chris doesn't need to pay that out. I believe I was able to make it into college because I had 2 tutors with me that I wouldn't have been able to pay the tuition for. She smiled with a wry expression and spoke. Then, Sean Chris teachers be here near her now. Well, it's about time to get going. Pack your lunch? Nah, it's fine. You better eat. Got it. After I answered, I turned to my room. He didn't call after me this time. But there were many parts of my conversation with Lisa that stuck with me. That's right. Investing really was all just according for expectations. So that's why Puspages from reality come unexpectedly. People's expectations are shallow, and no matter how much mathematics you'd use, there were lots of uncountable gaps that cannot be filled in reality. I got ready, boarded the tram, and went up to the office. There, Chris was sprawled out face down at her desk, exhausted, and Lego's tie was crooked. That bad? Legov counted, then counted once again. It seems like he must have spoken so much, his throat has gone sore. Learn the risk of leaving things up to a machine. Chris? When I called out to Chris, she lifted her head sluggishly and looked at me. She wasn't crying, but her face looked awful. It was like she was sucked dry. Couldn't stop the program very well. It's been quite a while since we're done trades by phone. They were in dire panic on their end too, since they were unable to carry out trades. It gave me a stinging feeling in my stomach. Whatever an individual investor or a fund, basically the settlement of the final accounts was managed by investment banks. The only difference was in the scale. If orders came in all at once, the line would go dead too, especially since lots of people had probably turned off their devices and picked up their phones. We had trades allowed only in the office for risk management, but this seems to be a problem in and of itself. Igor turned his gaze over towards Chris. Chris nodded, agreeing from the bottom of her heart. Perhaps they formed a bond, and you fought a bloody battle together all morning. How did it go? Ah, Chris moaned, but she must have felt it was something she couldn't hide. Looking at the display, she spoke. Since I wasn't able to stop the program, because of the operation I couldn't stop, in total it's an 18% loss. Okay, this is actually a lot. Approximately a loss of 300,000 to 400,000 moles. Taking an 80% loss mentioned near at least 20% profit to regain all of it. In the world of stocks, the steps for going up and down didn't go by the same numbers. It's a shame for Eleanor, the financial baker, but it was a good lesson learned. I said that as I took my seat, what would have been a laudable doubt that these words were irresponsible for someone who just had come in the afternoon didn't cross my mind. It's a given in trading that your expectation would be off at some point. Because it's a given, you'd post losses. Chris groaned and Legov spoke. You appear quite resilient at a loss. May have been a snide remark from him, but without looking at his former private Swiss banker, I spoke. I've seen the world at minus 250% before. It was enough to make my blood freeze too. An email from Rena came right when I opened my tablet. The data classification is terrible, she wrote. So, you have to do something about that. I wrote a response thanking her and sent it. She's saying classification is terrible, but it's strong classified, and it's hard for her to get. or it's just our way around, and it's completely not protecting at all. Hmm. Anyway, I hear you're devising a project with Madame. Yes, I was looking at the tab all morning. This appeared to not have the energy to respond to my reproachful remark. Kate straightened herself up, and so she could only see that I've sat madly in her chair, throwing a blind eye to Chris. As she was letting off as he rolled his eyes, I opened the data from yelling gleefully. Files appeared to be in some ordinary spreadsheet format, and the lines were near countless. Awesome, just like Eleanor had told me, the file titles were divided by length coordinates, and by the file names you wouldn't be able to tell which one had Avalon written in it. I pressed my lips together for a while, then looked at Chris. Actually, I think it's something what the program can help with, but Chris not programmer, so she can't write program for this, I guess. Like, if he want to use program, he need help from Seralt. Anyway, this appeared much more childish, likely from being exhausted, and looked at me with an innocent expression. I turned my tablet over to Chris. I'd like you to write me a quick program. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe she actually able to write program by herself. Chris gave a smirk and spoke. But a really quick one then. If Legov wasn't here, I would have pinched her cheek. Chris took my tablet and opened up an editor, then looked at me. What kind of program? I'd like to search for a certain word in these files and extract the data from that. Okay. And I'd like to have whose numbers from that. Okay. Also, if possible, add up the numbers from whose files. Understood. I mean, to be honest, if all finds have same, how it's called, editing or something, I mean, if that and this file structured the same, then it should be actually an easy program. Like, I mean, even as failed programmer as I am, he probably can write something about this. Anyway, she punched the case without pause while listening to me, and in no time she turned it back over to me. Finished. That speed wasn't a witchcraft. My surprise had her being with pride. I can produce original programs like Seralt, but I'm confident in my ability to handle things I already know. First from one who's aware of her stand. It was just for show, since she skipped grades and was accepted into Lunar City University. I thanked her, and I took it and passed my eyes over the numbers. The gross amount of land Avalon had applied for was listed just as expected. I opened up a single extracted file just to check. The utilization column listed energy production. Nothing was more refreshing than when prediction hit right on the money. Most importantly, I could now delve deep into the bowels of Avalon. I could now delve deep into the bowels of Avalon, and then pulled out appropriate prices from the energy market log data and cross-compared the already checked average mean of average output for a panel with the surface. The result? I doubted my own eyes, not only once. I doubted it a second time. I checked it a third time, cross-compared. The fourth time, I checked it again, a few years ago. That would be considered the cheapest energy cost right now. Impossible. I was frozen stiff, looking at my screen. I could tell Chris was looking over here with a curious expression. Calculated one last time and realized how foolish I had been. It was normal to have your expectations defined, and whose blows from reality were always heavy. What is it? All I could do in response to Chris' query was to lay back in my chair. There was a single figure displayed on my screen. Listed there was how much Avalon could have been bringing in. Around 53 billion. 40 billion moons is too much, you said. My estimate was completely off mark. Hmm? That afternoon, I spent my time looking over the afternoon market that seemed calmed down from the confusion. I was much more down because of Avalon than I expected. Of course, I sent all the results to Eleanor without covering up anything. No reply came from Eleanor because she was busy, or maybe she was downhearted about it too. Business was a chain of assumption. The rules are once a wrong assumption. Then I was disappointed by my losers. And I talked big to Lisa, saying you shouldn't get disappointed our losers. It's easy to say, but difficult in practice. Or with Chris, she gained her calm by the time the market closed. Marco had come straight from school that evening just before the market closed. As he could get as he couldn't get his mind at ease with the outline of the day, jaw dropped when he was handed the task like off passed off to him. It was a bit unbearable to watch, and I had nothing else to do with the hair, so I decided to go home. The sewing method didn't work, so even I needed to come up with something else, I'd be forced to give up. So, let me read this again. Hmm. Do I get right what it's actually everything alright with Avalon, at least from this data? Hmm. Um, Let me translate some words for myself, because I maybe don't exactly remember how they translated. Hmm. Hmm. I'm not sure. Okay. This moment when I definitely see I struggling because of my English. Hmm. Because obviously someone who can understand English probably understand everything that's going on right now. But since I'm usually, if I don't know some words, I just skip them and trying to understand what phrase mean. In situations like this, I became sometimes confused. Hmm. Okay, anyway, let's just continue reading, I guess. Hmm. The sewing method didn't work, so either needed to come up with something else, or I'd be forced to give up. There were no problems with Alon, then there'd be little reason for Eleanor to continue to act as Susie Wu. Okay, they literally said it right here for me to understand. Anyway, it's just that it doesn't get pretty depressing missing the mark of something that felt so sure. Not knowing exactly what I was doing leaving the office, Chris took my hand, apparently unable to bear seeing me like this. When to go over to Clapton Square? Chris still looked like she was a bit shell-shocked, but I thought it was a good idea as well. I decided to go along with her. Hmm. A cold wind blew when we left the shabby building of our office. It giggled when I braced myself in shock. It sure, it sure is a bit rare to have wind like this on the moon, isn't it? What is it? What is this? I believe it's from the rapid change in the temperature. The town is warm when the sun is out. Besides, the climate control in the dome has been lowered. The cold going from the top. Mm. A cold wind blew through and Chris chuckled again. Makes winds like this pick up. So, it's cold on Earth. The colder areas. It's not like this at all, though. So, I've been sheltered all my life. If we've been sheltered, then wouldn't be? Hmm? That thing you said to leave off today, the way you said it was a bit, yeah, but it was really cool. Chris said that as she was practically embracing my arm. Her cheeks is a bit rosy, maybe from the cold, or saying, I've seen the world at minus 250%. Ah, these last 4 years, you've told me so much stuff, but today I experienced my first loss. And it's like, I feel like I understand. It's a bit better now. I look at Chris from the corner of my eyes, then pushed up the corner of my lips with my free hand. It was a bluff. No way. Chris, contrary to form, flat out rebuffed me, then whispered. It was really scary. Chris and I walked clumsily down the chilly Schrodinger Street. It was on just numbers going down, yet it was really scary. It wasn't her money. She wouldn't die if she lost it. She wouldn't bleed over it. Yet, loss doing was fear, as if one were bleeding out. And if the pain from falling down and hurting yourself wasn't there, it examined the terrifying memories as a kind of the sight of blood gushing out. Stop. Please stop. Why couldn't you do it another way than you knew it would turn out like this? The world of minus 250% was an Arctic wasteland. It's called Dust and Compare. Sorry, I wasn't able to come back in the morning. I said it to Chris, in the punks of my consciousness. It was because I knew Chris was scared and was looking for something to cling to, and I had to waste a bit of time. It took a bit for Chris to respond. Maybe or maybe not, having seen through that little lie of mine. She finally spoke. If you really are sorry, then you reflect upon your actions, right? That face, so bashful, and giving her all. I grasped onto Chris' head with my free hand and patted her like I was mixing it around. No, yes. Chris blurted it out like she was angry, yet seemed to happily sink her head into her neck. I took my hand from her head, said that with a smile. Okay, Hal. The chilly lunar surface. That same smile of hers seemed especially warm. Earth was last for years. She'd always been nearby, and this affectionate. I said and nodded, nothing but a nod. Then let's sit at Clapton Square. Or before that, I need to contact Lisa. Oh, wait. What did I press? Um. Oof. I pressed something on 1 second. Skip so much. Anyway. Chris took her own table for her bag. It seemed that I got a message of mine. I figured it was probably an email, so I took it out of my bag and checked. Chris looked over at me as she took out the tablet transmission jack. It seemed she was calling up the church. Then, when I looked at my tablet and tensed up, it was a message from Eleanor. Thank you for your message. I closed it out as well. It's a rather unfortunate result. It felt like she was being considerate towards me, as I felt a tiny pain deep in my chest. But there was more. So, I would like to speak with you a bit. But where are you right now? From what I heard from the Gov, you had just left the office. If possible, would it be fine if you made your way over to the hotel? I was about to send a reply quickly, but gasped and froze. Right next to me was Chris, going on and on about little things. Ah, so what you gonna choose right now? Is he gonna choose stay with Chris or going to Eleanor? I mean, obviously, I feel like staying with Chris better, but we also know what Eleanor is also in kind of difficult situation, and while she didn't really showing this, I she also alone, so she also maybe need help from a friend or something like this. Hmm. Well, obviously he can ask if Chris can go with him. It can help, but Eleanor also didn't really want to tell Chris about what she's doing or trying to do. So it's probably not gonna work. I mean, let's just continue read and figure out what's he gonna do. I don't drink. It's not a bad story like that. She gave it out loud, but it looked like she was enjoying herself. It could be because Chris seemed so happy that Lisa was warning her about this and that. It pained me to interrupt Chris, but Eleanor must have called on me because she had something to talk about regarding Avalon. Hmm, is he again gonna choose stuff on top of people? Hmm. I placed my hand on Chris' shoulder as she was speaking with Lisa. Chris, oh, 1 second. Hal, Lisa wants us to buy something on our way back. Chris is making a face that seemed to say, what about her? I spoke to her, my own face expressionless. Sorry, something came up. Okay, I kinda don't like this. I mean, maybe because right now I kinda want with to Chris and Hal being together. Mm, and I really don't like what he letting her down for its feels so. Um, what? Chris rose with that smile. Only her eyes looked shocked. What? Sorry. I'll do the shopping, and I'll bring you something back. From her earphones, I could hear Lisa's voice. Chris? I tapped Chris on the shoulder. She finally recalled that she was in the middle of a call. Her attention was back on her tablet, but her gaze was focused directly on me. Sorry. It seemed she understood that any thin chance was now gone. Lisa. Actually, I'll be right back. I heard a hah from her earphone, and Chris hung up right after that. All the while, as she put her tablet into her bag, she didn't show much of emotion. When the bag clicked shut, it was as if that were a switch, as a smile appeared on her face. Okay, it's actually made it more sad. Don't go to any bad places. No, Chris. Well, I head back now and look over that happened in the market. I'll wait up for you. Her, and yeah, Carol really understands. I believe understanding what he really messed up here. Mm, I mean, one thing what I don't like here is just he reasoning what he want to meet with Eleanor because it's gonna be more information or conversation about Avalon. Like if he was explaining us he wanted to be with Eleanor, like help with her or was worried about her, then I can understand. But this one is kind of bad. Mm, anyway, before I could finish saying the is, Chris jogged sharply on her heel and quickly started walking, still with that smile on. Then, before disappearing off into the crowd, she turned back and gave me a big wave. Then she took off walking again. I felt like I've done something awful. But things with Eleanor are more important. Mm, with a heavy heart, I said as replied on my tablet. I'll head there now. The reply came quickly. I shall be waiting. Have you eaten? I wasn't about to reply that I hadn't eaten, but I felt it would look bad if I appeared like expecting her to treat me right from the start. Think I bit wrote, shall I bring something? The reply was short, then a hamburger from the golden arcs that have spread around the world power than any religion, if you would. Hmm. Buying hamburgers at the American hamburger chain, and some people said to be a statement of their cultural invasion, was something unusual. It was hassle-free, and the flour was guaranteed. But I felt quite out of place, carrying footbags. If that remark distinctive, here not carried uh, meter distance when I entered into Royal Central Hotel, and I saw the porter cringe a little when they came to carry my baggage. Huh. I couldn't the same as before. That seemed to be an exclusive elevator and went up to the 50th floor. Outside, the dome was built was but I see a sliver of mother red at the final moments of the night. The gradation of the darkness of space, the dome's indigo and red were quite beautiful. The view must have been much more splendid from Avalon's headquarters. I wouldn't have been surprised if there were people willing to commit a bit of wrongdoing just to obtain that view. At the ball for the room 5002, as I thought of that. Good evening. Good evening. My apologies. Asking you to run such an odd errand. Not at all. It's been a while, so I figured I'd get myself some too. Ehem. Eleanor smiled, moved back from the door, and opened it. The room was the same as always, but she seemed to put some efforts into cleaning as there was no now a path. Technically, the dining room is over there, so over there. Her use of technically concerned me, but as I followed her direction and took the pathway construction by going through the mountains of documents, I understood. I see. Technically. Normally, one would be able to dine while overlooking the 100 million moles skyline of Newton City from 50th floor, but right here, the long table was covered in piles of books and documents. Even more, not only she used it as some kind of storage space, but the way it was built was awful. Since it was impossible to pull out our chairs, the only seats available were the two facing each other, and the head chair making three. Next, I placed the hamburger back on the open table space, and Eleanor brought in a teapot. I brought drinks. Ah, no. This is for if I start choking. Huh? Carbonation. Does it not become a problem? I look intensely at Eleanor's nervously smiling face. She has probably had a problem with it before. Imagine that happening. She seemed a bit foolish and cute. Plus, I also have a lukewarm TL ready. Where are the knives and forks? My, you certainly are a bit mean. Now she was applying, I was taking a jab at her novel descent. I was actually rather serious. Especially considering that Gia said she'd put out just in case she choked on her etymol Kobo meal. Looked like it cost 2 or 3 digits more. Then, let us eat. Mm. Then Eleanor spoke with words. I took out a gambler in this very unbefitting location and unwrapped it. Okay, this is kinda cute. Um, and because of that, we're gonna stop here. I know it's really strange place to stop, but firstly, I kinda think it's gonna work for thumbnail for next stream, so I kinda wanna save this image, and also I kinda already want to stop because I don't know, for some reason I am reading, but I don't really understand what I'm exactly reading. So yeah, and we can't say how long this conversation is gonna be. Because maybe long. Anyway, it was already a hour, so I guess good enough. And yeah, so which means it was all for today. And next stream gonna be on Tuesday. But for now, goodbye. Have a nice of the day.